Hello and welcome to Grace for the Grind, a discipleship tool for the busy believer. We want to be a place of practical encouragement and honest conversations as we follow Jesus together. My name is Nathan. I'm one of the pastors here at Mountain View. Welcome, Stephen. How you doing, man?
I'm cold.
Ooh, but it's so good.
I normally love the cold. If it's going to be this cold, I want it to snow.
Oh, did you know it snowed yesterday?
Okay, I heard rumors about these flurries.
There was a flurry.
Yeah.
And my kids wanted to put on snow boots and go outside. And I was like, guys, there's no point. Don't do
Haley
that.
tried to tell Amos there was a flurry, and he wasn't buying it. He was like, prove it. You know? He didn't see it, so.
The built-in like skepticism, or like he doesn't agree or doesn't see it. I love
Not
it.
having it.
I like your gray pullover.
Your gray pullover is also wonderful.
Mine's better.
For our audio listeners, you're really missing out. Yours is better for a handful of reasons. Why don't you share about the obvious one?
Well, I mean, Southern Seminary.
Did we hide your shield? You put
No,
it back.
oh, it's still there. No, it was there during your devotional thing.
Mine is from Walmart.
Oh, man.
Ben Hogan, who apparently is a very old golfer, and it's piling up and stuff. Piling.
Not Hulk Hogan.
Tracy can say what it is later.
Okay.
No.
The
I would
famous
wear,
wrestler.
I would wear a Hulk Hogan. He just died, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he
R.I.P.
almost just died a lot the last 10 years or so.
Well, especially that wrestling age, like that was a
steroids
a time
and
past.
all the things.
Yes. Well, on a much brighter note,
Sure.
How's your coffee this morning?
It's delicious. Who brings us this
today?
coffee?
I believe. Oh man, I'm blanking on who this was.
Is this bag what we're drinking?
This is what we're drinking.
This is Nate Collins.
That is Nate Collins. That is correct.
He's already gotten a shout out.
It was running in my mind.
To preview,
No
we're keeping
shout out.
track. We have coffee from David Fowler coming up next.
Yep.
We have coffee from Christina Smith coming up next from the North Carolina coast.
Yes.
So stay tuned for those eps in the future.
And then we will be open for more coffee.
Yes.
Because we will have used it. So, wanted to talk today, kind of a follow-up to our previous one of just talking about technology, the implementation, and just how we look at it inside of our own lives. But before we kind of get to that, our kind of random game or idea to get to know each other,
This is the most stressful part of my week.
It's my favorite part.
I never get flustered, or I'm sure Tracy edits out the long, awkward gaps where I'm just like,
I am sure.
not knowing how to answer your question.
This
is the only time I feel unsure about myself all week.
Well, this will for sure make you feel unsure and uneasy because it means that we're getting old. Slang words of 2026.
Okay.
Let me just say, I had to.
Who's slang?
Who's slang? Not our slang.
Okay.
Teenage slang.
Oh gosh.
So this is for specifically this article. It's from Axis, which parents, if you don't know of Axis, it has great resources for teenage kids.
AXIS.
AXIS.
Okay.
Yes. Axis.org.
Like games articles. What are we talking?
Yeah, it has games articles, has parent packets to be able to say, here's this new thing that's coming up. How do I understand it?
That's good.
How do I deal with it? What are the changes with certain things? Like you'll talk about Snapchat and everything like that, of how to address it, how to deal with it, and things to know as a parent. So I use them constantly whenever I was inside student ministry. But I had looked at this to say, okay, what are some new slang that our teens are looking? Let me just precursor this. I had to look pretty hard and far to not find ones of adult content nature. So none of these are that.
Okay, good. Sounds like the wrong kind of podcast. So,
okay. So, Stephen, the first one, how would you describe and then use it in a sentence?
Okay,
so you have to
definition
define.
Okay.
Actually, let's do this. This will be more fun. Use it in a sentence, then define it after the sentence. This will be more fun. Some of these are going to be easier. Some of these are going to be harder.
Okay.
Bussin'.
Okay, it's 2007, and a young, much skinnier Stephen Hill sees the stunning Haley Friedman walking across the quad at the University of Mary Hardin-Baylor, and he sums up in himself the courage to give a great joke, a compliment, conversation that really drew her in.
I'm scared where
his
you're going.
words were bussin'.
His words.
Did I get it right?
His words were bussin'.
He's like got good game.
According to this, that's not the only way that it's mentioned. This says it's especially in resorts of food.
Food.
So that taco is bussin'.
Oh, it's like awesome or good or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it had like something to do with like flirting or.
Not always.
Okay, 0 for 1.
Not according to this.
All right.
Again, I'm willing to.
The
admit
last time
that
I
I'm
was
wrong.
with teenagers on a consistent basis was 2012, and I was giving kids salmonella because we were doing turkey bowling, where we bowled frozen turkeys with the wrappers off, no gloves, just drilled finger holes like a bowling ball into a raw turkey, and they bowled it in the worship center that was covered in baby oil to make it go faster. So as the day went on, the turkey melted, so it got wet turkey juice. Someone just almost threw up in their car listening to this, with baby oil and middle schoolers' hands all in the same thing. So somebody got sick.
Man, praise
So it's
the
been
Lord.
14 years since
It
I've
was
been around
all
teenagers.
done for the glory of God,
Amen.
right?
Somebody got saved that night.
Okay, so let's move on. The CEO of. That's just the phrase. CEO of.
Oh my gosh.
So use it in a phrase.
Okay. Hang on. It's coming to me. I might say that like LeBron James is the CEO of basketball.
Okay.
Like the best ever.
That's good.
He's not actually. It's Michael Jordan.
But they wouldn't say that.
What
They
would
would
they
say the
say?
GOAT.
Okay.
That's what
So-
I think they would say. But I think it still applies. The phrase that I have is Mark is the CEO of turning his homework in late.
Here we go. That's 1 for 2.
I am the king. I
counting.
am the CEO of that, of turning homework
We
in
can
late.
talk about that in a separate podcast
I
episode.
can repent for that. Being really talented at something.
In the spiritual gift of procrastination. So
Oh, man. Okay.
one more.
Next one. Gassing.
Pass. Give me another one.
Okay.
I get a pass card.
Oh man, I'm going to use it in a phrase. You just guess the definition, and then
all
we'll
right,
go to
all
another
right.
one. So, I'm always gassing up my girlfriend. She's
Oh, tell her
so
she's
she
awesome.
knows she looks cute.
Being verbose in your words of affirmation.
Wow, look at you, Webster.
There you go.
Yes, to hype someone up. Okay, this one's just interesting because this should be something that we know.
Okay, go ahead.
A word that meant one thing that now means something different.
All right.
Mood.
Mood.
It is a standalone word, not used in a sentence to describe something.
That is a complete sentence. Mood.
Mood. So
So
I'm
we're
gonna use it in a phrase.
Okay.
I just want to lay down on the floor, and someone would say mood.
Like, ooh, that sounds depressing or something.
No,
I got nothing.
it's essentially the new version of our ditto.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I relate with
All
you.
right.
I feel with you. Anyways, with that, as we're looking on social media and ignoring what teenagers use for terminology because we don't want to try and even use it,
Yes.
we want to talk about what technology does
Yeah.
for us, to us, and how we can implement it in a healthy way inside of our own lives. You have a book that you've been reading.
Yes.
Kind of show it to us, talk to us about it, and kind of
Okay,
outline
well,
it for us.
We were joking before, showing it's not going to be helpful because I hate book jacket, so I immediately throw them away on every book I buy. But this book is called The Tech Exit. The cover, maybe if you hold it like this, Tracy can put a magic picture on it here. It's a very teal color. It's good. It's called The Tech Exit. It's by a gal named Claire Morrell. She is a fellow at the Ethics Public Policy Center. It's like a Christian think tank. She runs the Technology and Human Flourishing Project. And so she's a very strong conservative Christian. Her husband is a pastor at Capitol Hill Baptist Church, where Mark Dever has been the lead pastor
Great-
for
great
forever and ever.
pastor.
Great church, head of 9 Marks. Really, really love their stuff. Jonathan Lehman, a bunch of good people have been produced by that church. And so love what they do. So just thinks really deeply in DC about policy and research for basically how phones and specifically social media apps affect teenagers and kids. As the age of kids getting a smartphone gets younger. So the book is called The Tech Exit, and it's about the parents and families who are going backwards, who are not just not starting with screen time or phones, but are actually courageously, humbly taking it away and trying to undo. So if they gave a smartphone to an 8-year-old and that kid's 12, this is kind of the best practices of how to go backwards, not just like, well, we messed up.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
do better with our grandkids or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Can I just lob you some of the big kind of?
I would love for you to.
So
Go ahead,
the
man.
book is great. It's written from a Christian perspective. I actually thought maybe for a biblical context for us in our Bible reading in our church plan today, we read Sodom and Gomorrah, Genesis 19. In my kind of group of guys I'm discipling, we were talking in our text group this morning about how Lot seems to like bargain with God. Like Abraham in the chapter before is bargaining for the salvation of these wicked people. Lot's bargaining to stay close to the wickedness.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, here, take my daughters instead of us having to get kicked out. And then when he's finally delivered, he's like, well, I don't need to go that far away from it. I'll just stay in this next city close by. And he's just trying to cozy up with this evil. And God essentially drags him away. And when I think about how we relate to our phones and iPads and all the things, like that's what I think God is having to do, is to drag us away from these things. And we're trying to figure out, what's the minimum amount of steps I can have? And so in the book, she talks about basically things like screen time limits just don't work.
Yep.
Parental controls don't work. And so she paths a pretty courageous, bold way forward under these two big categories. And I'd love to get your take on these. One is fasting and one is feasting. For fasting, she talks about taking a screen detox. So like, let's say our listeners are, I don't know, they've got 2 or 3 kids. They've got TVs in most rooms. Everybody has a device. They've added Wi-Fi, you know, to keep up with all these things. You and I were talking about how
how you can improve your
we've
Wi-Fi.
got extenders so we can keep this TV and that Peloton and this phone and streaming upstairs and downstairs.
To be clear, that's his issue with the Peloton. That's not my issue. So
you don't have a fitness bike you're trying to keep locked in. But
I'm not.
How to keep all these devices across our big houses all connected. And her first step really to action is like take a screen detox.
Yeah.
Just hearing that as an idea, what kind of things maybe come to mind?
Well, I mean, for first off, I think that's all very, very easy said. When you think about practically, man, that's challenging. I mean, that's challenging when we think about what about when we gather that we're looking at screens.
Yeah.
As a church, that you and I are looking at screens right now. That we're doing this podcast, kind of looking at this. You do.
Too.
That's a nice person that you've drawn on that paper. But
Micah drew a picture for you. Sorry, keep going.
but I think that's good, and I think it's something holy to pursue, but it is challenging, and so I empathize and feel with other people. With that being said, one of my suggestions that I always make is have one day a week without screens. Have one weekend a month, and have 1 week a year. And on top of that, have 1 hour a day where you're just not on screens, where you're awake. So having day, week, month, and then year, just to be able to build in that detox. I think it makes it where we have those times where we go away with our families and have vacation time, that it's more rewarding. It's healthier. I mean, you know that when your kids are on the screens a lot, they tend to fight a lot more. They tend to do all these things. And I think it's true with our spouses. Like the more we're looking at screens, the more of a distraction it can become. So I completely understand and agree with the fast.
Yeah, I think it's good that some version of a detox is the whole point of a detox. Some people tell me, we have a coworker who does the juice detox. We don't need to name names, but
she just hates her
she's
life.
Convinced this is a thing, and I'm convinced it's not.
Lauren believes in witchcraft. I will call it how it is. Lauren believes in anyways.
But part of the whole point is like you go long enough without food or without a thing that you don't even realize how much of a grip it had on you in that way. And so it has to be long enough where if you had that discipline of an hour a day, you probably don't have that like shock to your system of like I remember I stopped drinking coffee for like a month one time, and I was like violently sick for 2 weekends in a row. I had headaches. I like physically was sick, like vomiting, and was like, oh, I had no idea this was this big of a thing.
Oh yeah.
And so I was like, I don't know. I guess there's worse things to be addicted to. But I love that like practiced habit of like an hour at your lunch break or in the evening or in the morning. That could be really good detox. So then you go, okay, well, it's a bummer when you're trying to improve an area of your life and the first piece of advice is like,
just don't do it.
Just stop it. And it doesn't work. So then most of the rest of the book, the whole back half is about things to feast on.
Yeah.
To replace that compulsive checking of notifications or doom scrolling. The first idea she has is find other families. Basically, the research shows that screen time limits don't work anymore because all of the other people in society already don't operate on screen time limits. And if they do, they're not all at the same time. And so research is showing that kids and teenagers and even young adults now, smartphone use has so pervaded our culture for so long now that it dulls our senses to things like art and the beauty of the outdoors, reading, going on hikes. Like, it dulls our senses and has deadened our appetite. Because the whole idea of screen time was, okay, you can have 15 minutes here or weekends only, and then you can go do the other stuff. Well, now we're incapable of doing the other stuff to the extent that we were able to do 10 years ago. And so she says, find other families who are willing to parent and go along like this with you. Do you think this is possible? Like, this is a podcast for our church, right?
Yeah.
Do you think you could find families in our church that could be like-minded enough to do something like this together?
We have a couple.
Yeah.
We have a couple. I think of a couple families that I know that they have multiple teenagers in their home. I'm thinking of one specifically. I won't call them out on this, but they do not allow their freshmen in high school to have a cell phone.
Amen.
That I think there's wisdom. He knows how to talk to people more. Yeah. He is relational because of it. Now he has his own problems and his own different things, but like there's these aspects of like he knows how to relate to people because of this thing and being separated. And in some ways, he feels like he's alone, but then there's another family that's right there with him.
Yeah.
And so I think it's possible. Do I think it's the rare occurrence? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be. I think every parent can say, yes, the phone is a distraction. Yes, it is not good for their overall mental health. But to take that next step and say, I want to keep this away from my children.
Yeah.
That creates issues where they're like, no, I don't want to go that far.
Yeah. And she tells stories in the book about, the kid who gets told no when they want a smartphone. Well, now they're out of the loop with all their other friends. Because then the other friends are like on the school bus. She talks about like a fourth grader going to school and everybody's on their phones instead of talking to each other. And she's just there. And so then she comes home and begs for a phone. The parents say no. That causes a conflict in the home. All the other kids are commenting on memes and stuff. They're sending back and forth the things they saw online that this girl, we'll call her Emma because I think that's the name she gave her in the book, doesn't see. And so it's like, okay, you finally give in. Well, then you give her the phone, and now that causes what she says 40 other fights about other stuff. Because it hinders our ability to be together in the same room when we are in the same room. When your screen time limit hits, you're thinking about how long it is until you can log in again. And there's just this instant validation of so many likes, so many DMs, so many interactions or shares. And this is just your dopamine levels double from age 10 to age 12. That is the absolute worst time for somebody to have a smartphone in their hands.
But into the other side, I want to play the devil's advocate inside of it. We have a 10-year-old last year was doing a lot of education on her Chromebook. Me and my wife just didn't like that. And we said, hey, can it not be like this? And when we reached out to administration, it was encouraged to saying we believe in the technological advancements and them studying and learning on through technology, which we adamantly were against. And so even to the point of even high schoolers. So if you take it all the way even to the point of high schoolers, it is encouraged for them to have cell phones inside the classroom because that is their researching tool. And I think now we're seeing education go the other way, where they're saying, hey, maybe that's not the best thing. Maybe we should stop this. So I think there's kind of the curve and the pendulum swing, but it's still a reality.
Real life is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
There's a chapter at the end, I haven't gotten to it yet, where she basically argues that parents should advocate, similar to what you're talking about, for administration to take these things out. Like, our kindergartners probably ought not to have Chromebooks in the classroom. But there is a line where like, Haley and I are planning this big family vacation this summer, and we booked a rental car and multiple hotels in different locations this last week on our phones, like in the living room.
And really, there's something to be thought of as you're looking at this feast of replacing of even the fasting of it. There's a reason why the creators of the iPhone do not allow their children to be on the iPhone. That you're seeing Silicon Valley, like they are implementing it and then not taking it inside their own lives to saying, hey, we just don't think this is good. Anyways, what's next?
She compares lots of quotes from ex-Silicon Valley people in here, but she says, we think that giving a kid a smartphone is something like sugar, something that can be enjoyed in moderation. And she says ex-Silicon executives are comparing it to fentanyl. Like the screen limit is basically like a warning label that we put on cigarettes now of like, we put this on because we have to, we don't really believe in it.
So are you saying our last episode with me talking about my brick that I love so much that it was just pointless?
No, that was good.
Throw it away.
No, it's great. Okay, so feast, fast, do a screen detox, feast, find other families, under feast, another one. This is the one I think I took the most umbrage with. Explain to your kids and teenagers why they don't need this or why they need it less or why you're going to make a change. Educate them on the mental health. It's not a neutral thing. It's not just a correlation. These things cause an increase of depression, anxiety, suicide. It is directly related to the amount of time spent on a smartphone device. It is a 1-to-1 correlation. Like it is not just a correlation. It is proven to be a causation now. You've mentioned Jonathan Haidt.
The Anxious Generation. Phenomenal book.
And he presents all that research in his book as well. So you explain a change, you educate, and apparently teenagers might listen to this. But the biggest thing in that next chapter would be exemplify. So she challenges parents to change the way that we interact with phones in the house and screens. In a pretty profound way.
Yeah.
And from our last episode, like we're both trying to do this in more profound ways, but trying to exemplify a screenless. I thought of the times when I've had like one AirPod in listening to a podcast, also then trying to talk to my kids or my wife. And I'm like, wait, what? And then they see it and they go, oh, daddy's distracted. And it just kills me.
And what you're communicating is that they're not the priority.
You half matter.
Yeah. You half matter. You one ear matter.
I don't have both AirPods in it. I have one.
Yeah, but I think one of the challenges is that like when we say, "Hey, I know this is what's best for my kids," but we don't want to take it on ourselves, or that's not best for us. Think about even for some parents if they departed from church or the faith in college, what brings them back a lot of the time is what?
Their kids to be good.
They want their kids to be good. They want their kids to have the same upbringing that they have. So they come back to the church. And our goal as pastors is to say, let's bridge the gap between your parenting and wanting what's good for your parents and realizing what's good for you. That you are a spiritual being that needs to grow and be matured. And so that's one of the challenges, saying, hey, this isn't just good for your kids. It's good for you. And that takes, that's a struggle to be able to say, hey, I'm going to deprive myself because I know it's the best for me. And your kids aren't going to take up the practices unless you're doing it yourself. Yeah,
I would think if we were going to make one family change, this would be the one to make. To have mom and dad, whoever's in the house, exemplify what a screenless life can look like. And say, hey, all of us now are going to put our phones up for dinner. Or nobody's looking at a screen in the car. Car time is going to be for conversation only. We'll talk about some family approaches in a minute. So, okay, into the feast category, find other families, explain, educate, and exemplify a screenless life. The third thing I thought was just super practical and helpful was just adopt alternatives. This is like showing your kids that they can get around with a dumb phone. There are this whole new industry like Gab, Bark, Light phones, Wise phones, safety conscious phones that will allow your child, and then some of them even have watches, to text back and forth, to call back and forth with no app browser capacity. What's your take on that?
I strongly encourage it. I think it's one of the things, especially thinking about a watch, that way you're able to always be in contact with them. You don't have to worry about them necessarily breaking it. They're going to want something like it anyways. But it's a way to make that small transition. But I think there's even benefit of looking at it into just a slight warning for parents. If you hold on to this, be ready for what your kids will get access to anyways. I've heard multiple times, probably 10 times, of kids that their parents put these kind of guardrails in their lives. And then other students get their old iPhone that they don't use anymore, and they say, hey, you can just use mine. And so they get it anyways. So put up guardrails. Have your Wi-Fi access that you can see who's on it and see the devices are on it, because students can find a way around it.
I even think of like you guys have the doorbell, the Ring doorbell on your door, so you could see if someone was like riding the bus home or something, or got dropped off by a neighbor. You can clock, okay, so and so's home.
I get a notification every time a new device hops on our network.
So that's a way to like use technology to help
do this.
Monitor the rest of technology.
Now it's the notifications. I have to turn it off. But yes, you're right.
It's good. Set up alternatives. This next one was great under the feast category. Set up digital accountability and family screen rules. So her research claims that screen time limits and generic parental controls are incredibly ineffective because people just tap the continue when the screen time comes up. That's why something like Brick is helpful, because you have to physically go to a different place to do it. There's at least that extra step. And whatever parental controls that are set up, there's a workaround the next day, the next week for them. And so she argues for something like a digital kind of family code of conduct covenant. Some things like claiming every device in our household is a family device that is on loan to Elizabeth, on loan to Amos, whatever. And then screen usage is going to be public and personal. We don't do anything in bedrooms behind closed doors. If we're going to watch something on TV, it's going to be a family movie night. Or I know you are a godly enough man to love postseason Major League Baseball. So when that is
anything else, but
it pulls our family together regardless who's playing. But yeah. Thoughts on that? Like, so trying to use it purposefully, but also like this is about like that biblical wisdom of like who they're becoming and less about rules for limits and controls and stuff.
I think it's taking obviously putting guardrails and putting limits, but it's also prioritizing what you're doing. Like I think of right now, like I'm an avid UK fan or University of Kentucky fan.
That's so weird. You never talk about it.
I never talk about it. And I always talk about it. And the reason why I am a Kentucky basketball fan is I went to camps and stuff like that. But I was kind of falling out of being a fandom because they were terrible.
Yeah.
And when I was 16, 17, would sit down every Tuesday and every Saturday with my grandfather, who was living with us at the time, and watch Kentucky basketball. So really, that became such an influential thing. We never watched any TV any other time.
Yeah.
But it was those moments where I was like, hey, I'm with him. This is our thing. That projected into this lifelong thing of UK fandom.
Yeah.
And so like, that's a small thing, but you're able to say, hey, let me pour in this way and take advantage of these things rather than mindlessly watching anything and everything, and then there's no value in anything.
Yep.
So you're really saying no to some things so that you can say yes and push forward things.
That's good.
Things that you love, like sports, like postseason baseball.
Yeah, amen.
That's not holy. But anyways, go ahead. What else?
Yeah, she talks about screen time is shared and sparing or something, kind of that same point of like, let's pick our spots. So let's make that really special versus just watching. I mean, I can't believe some of the ads that pop up on things like we'll watch a perfectly appropriate YouTube video and then the ad that pops up is like, what are we showing? Or something. We canceled all of our streaming stuff this year, but
being strategic and how you're doing it and being intentional. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Last one that I loved with older teenagers in mind, she argues for something like trading screens for real life responsibilities and pursuits. The example she gives is the average iPhone. You don't realize this because you finance it for 2 years, whatever. But the average iPhone costs $2,000 now. And so she tells stories of real life parents throughout the whole book, but who just bought their kid a $2,000 truck instead and said, you can pay for your own dumb phone. And here's a $2,000 truck. Go start a lawn mowing business. And so they did. And so the kid ends up paying for half his college because he got this $2,000 truck instead of a $2,000 phone. He paid the $30 a month for like a, pay as you go or Mint Mobile, whatever plan, and just made it work. But then had the vehicle he needed to start a grass clipping, lawn mowing, junk hauling business, and then he gets real life experience. You go cold call, knocking on doors. You're calling real estate agents as you see their listings need to be mowed, and they'll absolutely pay you to mow it on Thursday before their listings, start coming in Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And
I'm trying to find out where the $2,000 truck is.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I can't find.
I think you're looking at. There's one in the back of Sean Hooper's house if he's listening. He's got an old S10. Have you seen this?
No.
Yeah, dude.
My dad had an S10
He's got
growing
a secret
up.
truck in his backyard, and it's awesome. awesome. It looks like what you think would look like.
And then he has his awesome truck that
Yes,
he drives around.
that's
But
the front
anyways,
yard. So anyway, we don't do this a ton. I would just incredibly highly recommend the book, The Tech Exit, Claire Morrell. It's worth a read, certainly. Again, godly, Christian, trusted source there. At least give you something to talk about and think about
Yeah.
and pray about as a family, because we don't want to be like Lot, who has to be like pried away from the things that have our attention more than we realize.
and I would pair with that. We'll put that inside of the show notes if you want to see it. I would pair, because we just talked about it a little bit. The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt.
I don't know.
Something. But not a Christian, but comes with a lot of the things that we're talking about here. I think Christian thoughts alongside of it. And so I encourage that for parents as you start thinking about technology in your home, and really think about technology for yourself. I think you'll be able to see how it's affecting you. So know that we care about you. We know you're using technology to watch this, to listen to this, to see this, but think about the implication of technology inside of your own life. You have any last thoughts?
I think it can be overwhelming to read research like this, or a book is not hard to read, but then you're like, gosh, did we just blow it with our kids already? You know, just take a step. The whole tech exit idea, she gives really practical steps, but growing in Christ-likeness in this way is like growing in Christ-likeness in any way. You just take a step. And so start with one, add on top of that, evaluate together, and just ask the Lord for him to guide you and help you too. Because each family is different. Each family has brought this into their life or home inevitably in a different way. Just ask him what the next step looks like.
There's a mountain to climb.
That's right.
And you climb it by each step. So thank you for joining us for Grace for the Grind. We will see you next time.